It's me, Moo, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing a realistic reading with me week. Basically what it's going to consist of is I'm going to be reading for the next few days, and I'm going to see how many books I can read. At the end of the video, I will be doing a final recap of all the books that I read and what I rated them. Maybe I'll even do like a page count and see how many pages I read throughout the days and then in total as well. I'm super ready to just get started on this video, so I hope that you guys enjoy. Let's get started. I'm already on chapter 3, and honestly, like, we're just kind of getting an intro to the characters, and so far it's been like a little bit entertaining. We already have a lot of character introductions. We have Mrs. Ferrars, who's dead, Mr. Ferrars, who died a year before Mrs. Ferrars died. Then we have Dr. Shepherd, who I think will be a key character in the story because he's obviously there to kind of analyze the death and the body, and he's also kind of like the town doctor, if that makes sense. And we have another character named Caroline, who is someone's sister, Dr. James Shepherd, and then his sister Caroline. So Mrs. Ferrars is dead. First chapter was just basically like asking questions like why would she kill herself, like who did this to her, and just kind of setting up the tone for the story, which actually is very, I guess, comical. The story is based on like a society within this town in London. So with chapter 2 titled Who's Who in King's Abbot, King's Abbot is the little village, and in that village there's two, I guess, like central homes or central families. One of them is Mrs. Ferrars, Mrs. Ferrars' place left by her late husband, and then there's Fernley Park, which is owned by Roger Ackroyd. And as we all know by the title, the murder of Roger Ackroyd, we know that this man dies. We don't know how he dies, at least not yet. Find out that the town loves to gossip, and the town just loves to talk about people, and kind of just, they have their ways of kind of communicating and just making, you know, statements about societal things that happen within this town. Because those two houses are so important in King's Abbot. Learn that Roger Ackroyd was like married, and he had a wife who was like a little bit older than him, and she had a child from like a previous encounter, previous marriage, relationship, who knows, wasn't really that important. We come to find out that his first wife had a drinking problem and she died, and she left the son, who was 7 years old at the time, to live with Roger. What happens next is that the son grows, you know, old. He's actually 25 now in the story, so it's been a couple of years. And we come to find out that because there's so much gossip in this little village of King's Abbot, people started noticing that Roger Ackroyd and Mrs. Ferrars were spending a lot of time together during this period in time before Mrs. Ferrars' death. Would become Mrs. Ackroyd. So even though Roger never wanted to remarry after his first wife's death, he eventually did. And so it kind of just goes on to explain like who the other characters were. He has like this massive house, they have landscapers and housemaids and all these things. We're still trying to figure out, you know, what happened to Mrs. Ferrars, and obviously what happened to Roger Ackroyd, and who is behind all of this. It seems like there's a lot of characters in this story, and I really hope that we get some clarification on the more important characters. Like, we kind of hone in on the more important ones, just because it seems like there's a lot of things going on in this book. I'm gonna keep reading, and I hope that there's some sort of clarity within this book for me. I'm hoping that I can finish this book in probably like the next 2 days. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm gonna keep reading and I'll update you guys soon. Checking in with you guys because my man just got murdered. I mean, Roger Ackroyd, he's just gone. He's in cold blood right now. I don't want to give anything like away, because if you know you manage to like end up reading this book or you're intrigued, like I definitely would want you to enjoy it as much as possible. However, this entire book is based on Dr. Shepard's point of view. We are now getting into the murder. So the doctor was called, Dr. Shepard was called, and he was told that Roger Ackroyd has been murdered, that he's dead. And he grabbed all his things and right away we're jumping in. Because how is this possible? I have ended on chapter 10, which is actually page 111, 111 for the win. And I just want to say a few things. First of all, I'm very suspicious about Flora. I don't think that she was involved in the murder per se. Like I don't think she did the actual killing. However, I do think that she was involved in some way, shape, or form. Right now there's a couple of speculations. We have Parker, who's the butler. We also have Ralph, who is actually Ackroyd's stepson from his first marriage. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, like almost everybody who lives or is a part of the staff of that residency. So right now we're just kind of really getting a feel for the characters, of like further investigating the motives of everybody. That's how far of the book I'm into. I will say I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it so far because there's little things here and there that I'm absolutely just like blown away by, because Hercule, the inspector, is so keen on these little details. Like, he analyzes every single thing that he comes across. He's able to take in all this information and just kind of like turn it into a story, kind of like unraveling everything piece by piece. I think my theory, and I could totally be wrong, is that the doctor, which is actually the point of view of this book, is the one who committed the murder. Even though it can't be him, maybe he was like a part of it, or like he kind of orchestrated the whole thing, I guess. I don't know. The doctor is just very sus, and the fact that it's only his point of view and that he's like basically Hercules' like right hand in this whole investigation, it's almost like you don't expect it to be him, but I have a feeling that it's him. If it's not him, it has to be someone from the staff. So it has to be either Parker, Miss Russell, Raymond, who's like the, I don't know if he's a butler. He's like the secretary. Once I get further into the book and there's like other things that come up, I guess I'll share it with you guys. But yeah, I'm loving this book so far. Right now I'm on page 173, and I think it's like a little more than halfway. I'm very suspicious of the doctor, like his interactions with his sister Caroline after he finds out that Hercule Poirot is basically like hanging out with her in quotation marks. And what's really interesting is that Roy had a conversation with Dr. Shepard, and he was basically telling him like, you can't trust anyone, like me as an investigator, like attach myself to anyone's story. I can only go by your word. But what if that person's word isn't true? Go based off of what people say and then the facts that lead to those conclusions. Basically telling him like, I don't trust you or anyone else that's involved in this case. That to me was like a big standout point, because I kind of don't trust the doctor either. Which interestingly enough, like his reactions to like Hercule trying to like be friends with Caroline and like kind of like do things behind his back without telling him, maybe he's hiding something, and I'm just like, what if he is? Like what if they were all part of this murder? That's the crazy part to me. Like what if they were all in on it? And like, I don't even know, like that would be mind-blowing. I'm suspicious of the doctor. I don't know if that will change as I keep reading, so we'll see. I'm gonna keep reading. I'm gonna try to read as much as I can. I'll let you guys know how far I get. You guys, it is now Tuesday. I have just about gotten done with my day, and I am so just like in a cozy vibe, kind of like gloomy and dark outside, and really I just want to kind of get as far as possible into my next book, which I'm gonna talk about now. My battery is going to die very soon, but I just want to say that I did get to finish The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, and I just don't want to give any spoilers, but I loved Poirot. He is so funny, he's so sensible. He's just a silly guy all around, but he does take his work very seriously. That's why I really just enjoyed this book, and I really just enjoyed seeing Poirot's personality come out as well. My next read for this week, it's actually going to be on my Kindle, and I'm going to be reading The Fine Print, which is the first book of the Dreamland Billionaire series. I've heard amazing things about this series and I'm just really excited to get into it. So I'm gonna try to read as much as possible and I will update you guys once I have something to update you guys on. In the meantime, I'll be enjoying my read and my freshly brewed coffee. On page 88 of The Fine Print and I'm loving it so far. I'm kind of shocked. I was completely shocked at the fact that Rowan was like immediately attracted to Zara without even like speaking a word to her. It was kind of like love at first sight. So Rowan and his two other brothers, Declan and Cal, have received this proposal from their now deceased grandfather, who actually ran this theme park called Dreamland in Florida. And in Rowan's proposal, it basically said that he was meant to take over the Dreamland company as CEO if he achieved a certain amount of like shares or money or status within Dreamland, basically like in the acting of the CEO. But he hasn't revealed his motive to becoming the permanent CEO. So right now we're getting his point of view and her point of view, and basically we're seeing like their witty banter, their kind of like little quips that they have like towards each other. We're starting to see like how the attraction is forming. It's really fun. Like I've already found myself kind of like gasping and like putting my hand over my mouth and stuff from like how shocking some of these things are. Honestly, like nothing huge has happened yet, but I'm really excited to just like keep reading and see what else we have that's coming up in this book, because so far it's really entertaining. So far I love all three brothers. I do think that Rowan has almost like this, it's that word, it's kind of like standoffish, and obviously his father is a big obstacle in this story, because the grandfather basically stated in his proposal that if he didn't achieve the terms in that proposal by a certain time period, then that share of the company will go to his father. Of course, he doesn't want to lose to his father, because him and his father have a very tension-filled relationship. And so that's kind of like the vibe that I'm getting from Rowan. He's very standoffish. He kind of like doesn't let people get too close, doesn't really share his emotions. He's very sarcastic, dry humored, and he's not really all that pleasant to be around. But we do meet his complete opposite, who is Zara, and Zara is basically like sunshine and rainbows. She is so optimistic about everything. She obviously has her little quirks, everybody does. However, she tends to have more of a positive outlook in comparison to Rowan. Basically, attraction ensues and their banter just keeps getting better and better as the story unfolds. I think I'm gonna read a little bit more. It is now 12:10 a.m. and I do have to get up early tomorrow. Does she not know? Well, obviously she doesn't. Rowan is going to get in a lot of trouble once she finds out, because of course she's gonna find out. Like, she will eventually find out, and that is going to be so devastating. I'm totally here for it. I'm gonna keep reading. So you guys, I do want to say something short. This is just like a side note, but I'm on chapter 22, so I'm 42% of the way in. And the only thing that I'm like kind of annoyed about, I feel like their budding romance is taking like way longer than it should. And it's been like 16 chapters since the last time that anything happened between them. I don't know if this is like everybody's like perspective on this book, for those of you that have read it. However, for me, it just feels like it shouldn't be taking this long. Like, they've already kissed at this point, so I don't understand why it's taking so long for them to do it again. That's kind of like my dilemma. I don't know if this is like what you guys think as well, but this is just like what I'm thinking, because it's like, how are you gonna have them kiss like 10 chapters in and then not bring anything up? Like, even at this point, chapter 22, they still haven't like done anything again. I'm struggling, but the book is fun to read. Like, I'm smiling probably every other sentence. So I'm wondering where I can find a real life Rowan. After reading almost the entire second half of this book, I'm convinced that I need to find a real life Rowan. I mean, I don't want to reveal anything just because I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but if a man did that for me, oh, it's that we'll be married. Like, there's no way a man goes through all that work to not want to wife this girl down. I refuse to believe it. I don't foresee this ending any other way, and I'm just so here for it. I have a couple chapters left. I'm 73% into the book. If it ends any other way, I'm going to be upset. I'm invested in these characters. I love Rowan, I love Zara, and I love Rowan and Zara together. I need to finish this like right now. Because the way that I am so unwell right now, for like the last maybe 23 pages, I'm so disappointed. I really believed that Rowan would do the right thing, but I'm so disappointed in this man. And like, story of my life, story of like every girl's life, but really, truly, honestly, like, I'm so in shock. Like, I was literally telling myself, I'm like, you've disappointed Zara and you've also disappointed me. She's heartbroken and I'm heartbroken with her, because how could this man do such a thing? But then at the same time, I'm like, men, like, right, Chico? But not Chico. Chico's a good boy. I almost don't want to keep reading. I will update you guys once I'm done with this book. because frankly I'm done right now, but I know that I need to finish it for this video. What? I knew it! Wait, because I'm screaming. Okay, let me calm down because I'm unwell. Although I knew this was gonna happen. I literally called it from like the beginning. Well, not the beginning, but about halfway through. I knew it. And I'm just so happy, and I can't wait to read the other books. My gosh, I was not expecting to cry in this video, and yet here we are. The way that this book was making me feel, I don't even know what to do right now. Okay, I guess we'll go on to our next read for this video. I want to pick my next read for this video, and I have about 3 days left. I have about 3 days left in the week, and I want to read something that's not too long, that's like maybe entertaining. I'm not sure what falls in that category. However, I do want it to be like a physical book because I don't know, I just don't want to read on my Kindle. I'm kind of in the mood to like have like a chill next few days of reading. I'm between 2 books, and I'll show them to you right now. So the 2 books that I'm between is actually either The Housemaid by Frida McFadden or The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I don't know, like I'm not really sure which one I want to go with. I decided to give this a go, and I really do think that this book will be the last book in my video for this week. I ended up not picking up The Paris Apartment at all yesterday. I just kind of wanted like a little break. So I will be starting to read it today. I am looking forward to starting this. I'm looking forward to seeing what unfolds in this story, because other than the premise, I have no idea what's happening. But I think that's also the good thing about books, is that sometimes not knowing makes the reading journey all that much better. gotten up to page 140 in the Paris apartment. Right now, just a few key things to note. So Ben, who is Jess's brother, has gone missing in this apartment building, and it starts off that way. Ben kind of having an intruder in his apartment, sending a voice note to Jess, and then it gets cut off. And right away, something's going on. Like, we're already into the story. The other thing to note is that Ben's point of view is in third person, whilst everyone else's point of view is in first person, which makes me kind of wonder who could be the murderer, or who could have caused Ben to disappear. It's interesting to kind of see all the different personalities within the story, because you have all these different people that live in this one apartment building where each floor is basically one apartment, and I think there's like 4 floors and then the penthouse. So far I'm enjoying the book. It's not like the most absurd thriller mystery book I've ever read, kind of giving a little bit of like Rear Window mixed in with like Only Murders in the Building, like that kind of vibe. I'm here for it. I'll just keep reading and I'll update you guys once I get further into the book. Oh, and before I start reading, I do want to let you guys know that it is September, and my fun drink for the day is actually a pumpkin spice latte with some cinnamon sprinkled on top. I'm living for this. I tried a pumpkin spice latte for the first time 3 days ago. Don't come for me. Like, I think that a pumpkin spice latte would ever taste as delicious as it does. However, this is homemade. I made this myself. I cannot be more proud. Like, it smells like fall. It tastes like fall, but it's also 109 degrees in Florida. In Florida, we have to create the vibes, because the vibes outside, they're not it. I have my fun reading drink, and I am going to see how much further I get into the Paris apartment. Back from dinner, and I got up to page, I believe, 204. I'm probably like maybe a little bit more than halfway done, and I really just want to finish this as quick as possible. So I'm gonna try to get through the bulk of this now. We'll see how much I can get done in the next few hours, maybe like 2.5 hours. Tiny little update, because what the actual heck is this book? Like, honestly, I don't even know what to say. I mean, I kind of guessed, or maybe like assumed, I don't know, it was just giving like obsession with Nick. And however, you guys, it's not like I'm actually in a little bit of shock, just because I did not expect so many characters to be in love with Ben, or to have like some sort of connection to Ben. I'm like, how are we supposed to find out who committed this crime, how he disappeared, what happened to Ben, and who did this to Ben, if like they're all involved? I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know where this story is going. It's a little frustrating because I read 2 really amazing books, and then here I am, you know, with the Paris apartment, and I'm like, when is it gonna end? You know, I just want to find out what happened. So you guys, I have finished my reading for this week, and I will say that it was a pretty evened out week, if that makes sense. I had some really good reads, and then I also had some pretty average reads. I'm a huge Agatha Christie fan, and this book really surprised me. It really just put me in a fall mood. I thought that this was the perfect read to kind of kick off the beginning of September, and boy was I right. I actually rated this book a 5 stars because everything about this book was pure perfection. The next book that I read in this video was actually The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, and it is actually the first book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. And if you guys don't already know, if you guys haven't already read even like the first few pages of this book, I'm telling you right now, you must go and read it. I actually read this book on my Kindle. However, I do plan on buying the physical copies of these books. It was a great grand romance. I felt everything that Zara was feeling as the story unfolded. I was happy with her. I was disappointed with her. Everything that she was feeling, I was mirroring, and within good reason. I encourage you guys to pick up this book, whether it's on Kindle Unlimited, whether it's a physical copy. However you can get your hands on this book, get your hands on the book. For that same reason, I actually rated this book a 4.5 stars. It wasn't the most amazing romance I've ever read, but it was very high up there. Last but not least, the final book that I read for this video is The Paris Apartment. And this book, I will say, took me a bit of time to get through. Like, I felt at one point that I was kind of like trying to rush through the book just so that I could finish it. And for some reason, halfway through the book, I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know if it was just because I wasn't connecting with the characters, I wasn't relating with the characters, or maybe it was just the storyline. But after reading a 5-star Agatha Christie murder mystery, this one just was not up to par. However, I did rate it a 3.5 stars just because the ending was really fulfilling. On top of that, I did not guess the twist at the end. I just hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next video.